thanks for joining us today. We have a very exciting call. Now, hopefully you guys have been seeing the videos that I have been releasing over the past week. So it's all about putting your online tutoring business on autopilot. And that is one of the trickiest things for a lot of people to do. In the beginning, the only thing that a lot of people are thinking about is how do I get students, right? But they're not thinking about how do I put pieces into place for my online tutoring business that are going to help sustain it over time? Or what can I put into place right now that is going to serve me really, really well, once I get booked solid? Will I be able to keep these things in place and all of that kind of stuff? So that series is going through all of that. If you haven't had a chance, I'm going to put a link inside of the description after this live is over so that you can check that out if you haven't had a chance to yet. The videos are also inside of the Ultimate Support Group for online tutors. You may have seen us do a watch party yesterday inside of our Facebook group. And today what I've done is I have invited 4 amazing tutors who have been members of the Insider Secrets Club, but they're all at different journeys and they all tutor different things. So I thought it was really cool just to have a really big variety here. So we've got tutors who have been in the community for like a month all the way up to 3 years. And so I want to thank all of you guys for coming here and joining me. Now, as you guys are coming on in, I want you to be able to ask any questions that you specifically have. So if you have a question for a tutor or how do they tutor certain things, feel free, add those questions on in, and I will be able to take a look and I will be able to bring it into our conversation that we are constantly having right now. And I am just opening it on up so I can see you guys inside of here, those of you who are joining us. So any of you that are joining us, please introduce who you are, where you're from, and what it is that you tutor. We're super excited that you guys have decided to join us. Now, our very first tutor that we have has been with us, like I said, for about a month. It's so interesting because when Kathy found me, she made a connection that she is friends with somebody that I went to high school with. And it's so cool because, it's such a small world. Like I live in Wisconsin now. She's in Massachusetts. And she's like, hey, do you know this person? I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, he was one of our friends in our friend group. And so it's amazing just like what a small world it absolutely is. So I want you guys to help me welcome Kathy. Hey, Kathy.
Hello.
So thank you for joining us in your car today. Isn't this the coolest part about like online tutoring? Because we really can do our tutoring anywhere, can't we?
Anywhere.
Anywhere. I've tutored in the car more times than I can count probably out loud. And it's really, really cool because I could be dropping off my kids at soccer, tutor a student, and then bring my kids home. And it's like nothing actually happened. Do you know what I mean? Like here I was like just going about my day, doing the things that I need to do and making life work for our family. And it's such a cool opportunity. So you tutor specifically kids that have learning disabilities because you were a special education teacher for over 20 years. Is that correct?
Yep.
Oh my gosh, so awesome. And you love helping help kids with specific learning disabilities. So as somebody who has just gotten started with our community, what are some of the things that you've been learning about your own online tutoring business that you wouldn't have learned if you hadn't joined us?
Well, I was trying to put everything together because I couldn't figure out how to do the tutoring online, what place to go to have a platform for it, how to do, like I just had so many questions. So then it was funny because I went on YouTube to look up online tutoring and Joanne showed up. So I'm like, okay, I have to go with them because she was answering so many of my questions because I was trying to do it all on my own.
Yeah.
And there's too many questions and there's too many, like, I didn't want to go into those tutoring businesses because you make peanuts. So I
Right.
wanted to do it on my own, but I needed the help.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've learned what to put up on the website, what not to put up on the website, what platform to go to, different programs to use, assessments, how to set up like automatic payments,
Mm-hmm.
how to just make it more automatic. And I keep hearing in my voice, is that sustainable?
Yes.
Because that's something that you always say. And I'm like, because of course, I tend to want to be creative and do a lot, but I'm like, is that going to be sustainable when I am full?
Right.
No. So
Right.
I've learned so much, and I have my notebook's almost full.
I love it. And you come to like all the calls, which is so cool because there's so much available to people who do become members. Like some people always wonder, well, what's the difference between the Ultimate Support Group on Facebook and the Insider Secrets Club? How would you answer that question?
I mean, Ultimate Support Group is great, but it's also for people that, I don't know, it just seems like the ones that go into the Insider Secret Club are the ones that are really committed to making it work.
Mm-hmm.
And some people in the Ultimate, like, they're, I don't know, kind of, they still will be in the tutoring business side, like the Wazant or
Oh,
whatever.
sure.
And they don't have the opportunity to ask the questions that we do in the Insider Secret Club. Because in there, I mean, there's so many calls that Joanne has set up for us that we're able to ask specific questions. And then it's not only that we get advice from Joanne, but we get advice from all the other tutors.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been invaluable.
Yeah.
It really has.
It is an amazing community. And I can't wait to see how many students you end up getting when you like push publish and go, because you've got all of the pieces in place. Did you think like within a month that you would be able to like accomplish as much as you have already?
No, because I mean, my website's totally done. I mean, I have my business cards, I have flyers set up, I have a thing for my car, I have the automatic payment set up, I have the online booking set up, I did a PayPal, that's with the automatic payment. I have, so the scheduling, and there was one other thing. The booking online. No, that's the same thing. I don't know. It just seems like I have so much set up. I just can't wait to use it.
I love it. I love it. It's awesome. And yeah, I can't wait for you to use it as well and begin getting those clients. And like you mentioned, there are a lot of people who have chosen to still work with some of the other companies in the Ultimate Support Group. And I am totally not against that. I just feel that if we keep putting ourselves though in the place where all the other tutors are, it makes it harder for people to see us. And so to make a name for yourself is what I show you guys how to do, how to stand out instead of blend in. Nobody wants to blend in when they're an online tutor and they're trying to book their online tutoring business solid. And nobody likes to find their clients one by one. I'm pretty sure.
Right.
Maybe some do, but
I don't
everybody here is saying, no, I don't want to find, I want my clients to find me. And so that's also what I teach in the community is how do we get it so that your clients can find you because you're putting out such great content and you're making a name for yourself and people are talking about you and people are referring you and you're building up relationships with other tutors who can refer you. We're building up something that is going to be a sustainable business versus an overnight success that you could lose all of your students at any moment.
And I don't want to just make like $15, $20 an hour.
No, you're worth so much more than that. Like I mentioned, you have over 20 years experience.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no reason that you should be making $10 to $15 an hour, whether you work with those companies or you work back. I knew tutors that were retiring from the school district, the last school that I worked with, coming back to tutor during the school day, and they were making only $10 an hour. And I just thought, are you kidding me? Like, this teacher that you've been paying on salary all these years, you're having them come on back at only $10 an hour. And it was something about, like, in order for them to be able to receive their benefits still, they could only like offer something like that. I don't know. It was just like this crazy story I heard. And I just thought, this just seems wrong in my mind in so many ways. So wrong. Like, here, this person is filled with a wealth of knowledge, and you're treating them as if they are less valuable than somebody from college.
Right.
It's like a kick in the butt, you know?
Yeah. Slap in the face.
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. So I'm glad that you ended up finding our community and being able to be able to continue to learn. For the new person that is thinking of joining, but they're scared. I'm sure you probably had some of the same like kind of scared thoughts recently when you were thinking about joining.
Well, I'm the one that just jumps in because I just know that I do better working with other people, that I work better with other people.
Yeah.
So to not be alone and trying to figure it out in hours of researching. I mean, I did tons of research before I thought of going on YouTube.
Right.
And then once I went on YouTube, I'm like, okay, she's the one I want to be with, because she's going to tell me exactly what to do and I can ask her questions.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And that's why we have those calls. Like, there's like a call almost every single day of the week where people like call on in, whether it's like a tech call or a group coaching call or a question answer call. There are just calls happening all the time for people to be able to join on in and be able to ask those questions and get feedback from people and all that.
And the nice thing is it's at different times of the day. So that if you're working, there's still calls, or if you're not working. So, and it doesn't matter where in the world you are, there's always a call that you can go to.
And if people can't come to the calls, they can see the replays.
Exactly. Exactly.
Awesome.
And so everybody's so nice that you can message them if you have a question. So it's just great. Yeah.
Yeah, the community is absolutely incredible. It's better than anything I ever could have imagined. You guys are what make it absolutely amazing. So thank you. This community would not be the same without incredible members like you guys. You guys are front and forward, helping other people, answering their questions, and it's just awesome. So thank you guys. For that new person that's thinking of joining, they're on the fence, they're not sure, what would you say to them?
Just do it. You can do it for just 1 month and see, or you can, I mean, because if you join for the year, you get 4 months free.
Yep.
But if you want to do it just for a month and see what it is, that's the way to do it. Yep. So I would just do it. I mean, there's classes. You get all of these classes that you can go on. You can have all of these calls. And then there's another class a month that Joanne does. So it's well worth the money.
Yeah. And tomorrow we're doing one on focusing. So those of you who are members, if you're watching this right now, if you're watching this, we are going to be focusing on focusing. How can you focus better? So I'm excited about that. It's going to be a lot of fun. Well, thank you for sharing your experience, Kathy. I appreciate you coming on in, joining and sharing that. We also have Elizabeth Hansford here. Now, Elizabeth is a online Spanish tutor who focuses on working with kids and adults in Spanish. And she's focused her advertising on kids. And she's actually needed to take a little bit of a break because she had a recent surgery. She needed some recovery time. However, her students are planning on coming back when she's ready to come back, and she doesn't really have to lose her business or anything like that, which is awesome. Now, you have been, I was taking a look, you've been part of our group now, Elizabeth, for the past 6 months.
Yeah, that's super exciting.
I don't
Wow.
how fast time goes, hey?
I know.
It feels like just yesterday that you were just kind of coming on into our community, and now you've already been here for 6 months and taking part in all of the calls and helping other people when they have questions. And oh my gosh, I so appreciate having you as part of this community.
Thank you so much. I mean, it's just been honestly life and business changing for me. Like, I just love meeting everybody, and I'll echo Kathy. Just you know, the fact that not only do we have all the calls, and every single day we have something different that we can learn from, but just all the members of the community are so helpful. So it's really awesome.
What are some of the things that you have learned that you didn't even know you needed to learn?
Where do I start? Uh, well, let's see. So, well, I came in as a complete newbie to tutoring, to online tutoring. I had worked with kids, for years in different capacities, but never online tutored ever before. So I just didn't know anything about the technology needed, or like I had never built a website before. I was really like new at all of that. So just having the step-by-step kind of guidance. Okay, this is what like the step 1, step 2, step 3 on the Insider Secrets Club website is super, super helpful. Yeah, the just having the guide to building the website, what we need to put on the website, just having all of that. Because I was clueless. I love doing the tutoring, but I'm not so good at the administration part. So learning all of those pieces has been super great.
Yeah, you bring up a good point that it's not even just the marketing, but the administration stuff, like how to run your online tutoring business, like how do I take payments, how do I communicate, how do I have the conversation when somebody does come on into the door and take care of that. So yeah, those are all such important elements that people think, oh, I'll be able to figure it out.
Yeah. Nope. Yeah. Oh, and that brings up another thing is the conversations. I thought, I'll just kind of figure that out as I go, but having the practice that we have every so often of having those sales conversations, it's just been super, super valuable for me, because I was always really not so confident before we did those. So
and it is all about building up that confidence, because when you're not confident and you're having a conversation with somebody about your tutoring services, they, I swear, can smell it a mile away.
Yes, they can.
And then they start second guessing themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And it's amazing because typically they'll say something like this: well, I'm thinking that maybe your services, I won't be able to afford them. How much do you charge?
Right.
And then they use that as the excuse, but really it really came down to, when we talk, not talking about ourselves, but turning the conversation onto the child that's struggling.
Yes.
That's where the conversation needs to stay. And I think that can definitely help with then turning that person into an actual client, versus it being like, I don't know. It's interesting. We think we have to sell ourselves. And so then we tell them everything about ourselves. I've been teaching for this long. I've got this much experience. I've worked with this many kids. I work with kids that have all of these disabilities. I have worked with kids that are this age to this age, and
right,
sleep on the other side.
Right. Oh, yeah, that's been a huge part for me is, before I knew this, this much about marketing before, but, all I knew about marketing was from, movies and all of that, where you get the guy that just talks about themselves the whole time. And that's not, at least in our industry, that's definitely not the way to go. When I first started doing this, I would just, talk. And it's much, much better. I've learned from you guys to ask those questions and really delve into, okay, how can I help this particular child? What are they struggling with?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So tell us about how you teach Spanish online. What are some of your favorite tools? How do you go about it?
Yeah. So one of my favorite tools to use is actually one that I learned about from you. It's the Raz Kids or Reading A to Z. It actually has it has books in English, but it also has leveled books in Spanish. And so I can find out what a kid's reading level is. And then I usually, because we're dealing with a foreign language, I usually take them a level or two below that to start out with, and then we work up from there. But it's really cute. They get so involved. I'll read a page, and then they'll read a page, and then I'll read a page, and then usually at every few pages or so, I'll translate for them to make sure they're following the story. So that's one of my favorite tools. And then YouTube songs are the greatest. I love, and they love them too. Just different songs to learn concepts like days of the week, months of the year. There's some great songs out there on YouTube. I thought about creating my own at some point, but I discovered it's not really necessary at this point for me to reinvent the wheel on that, because there's so many great ones out there.
Yeah.
So
I should say that, because now that we have an exchange student from Spain, the kids are thinking in Spanish more. And so the other day, my kids just start singing the days of the week randomly in Spanish. And that they had learned. They're like lunes, martes, miércoles. And I'm like, okay, why do you keep repeating it? They're like, oh, it's a song I learned.
I love it.
Now, we don't have any musically inclined people in our family, so it just sounded like they were kind of chanting it. I'm like, this is an interesting way. They're like, yeah, it was a song. We memorized it through a song. So the YouTube songs and that kind of stuff are really, really useful for being able to teach that kind of stuff. I love using vocabulary to teach vocabulary for kids that are struggling with vocabulary. And it's got the word inside of the song, and then it has the embedded in the song too.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I just find kids, adults too, but kids especially, if you teach them in a song, they learn it so quickly, and then the next week I ask them, do you remember that song from last? And they start singing it right away. It's awesome.
Yeah. I love it. So if you guys have any questions at all for our panel that is here and joining us, feel free to just type it on in. Also introduce yourself. We want to be able to say hi to you and acknowledge you. So definitely come on in, join us, and we will say hello. Now, with any other tools that you love using with teaching Spanish?
Let's see. Well, I find a lot of worksheets and stuff on things like Pinterest. I don't know if that's a tool specifically, but
sure.
But yeah, Pinterest, and then Teachers Pay Teachers is another fantastic one. Because again, these teachers have a lot of the technical skills that I'm still learning, and so they've already created these amazing worksheets that are really awesome, really kid friendly. So I can just either print those out or scan them and if I'm working online and show them to share the screen on Zoom, which is my favorite features. Oh my goodness. So that's been really, really helpful.
Yeah. I love too, you can even what I love is Microsoft Edge has an amazing interface where you can open up a PDF in Microsoft Edge and you can write on any PDF and it stays there.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure that one out. I need to get on that, but I don't know if I can download it on my Mac or not, but
some people are having problems with the Mac and downloading it.
Okay. Yeah, but I'll try to figure that out, because I would definitely be all for that for sure.
Yeah. And the other thing you can do too, if you want to just like write on there and keep it there, or if your student is also writing on it, is to use the bit paper, upload it into the bit
Yeah.
paper, and then it will stay there and it will write on the paper and it won't move. Or you could use the annotate feature. I mean, I use the annotate feature all the time with my students, and that works great too. I just don't move my document then too much when I'm working with them in it, and it works fine.
What about OneNote? If you upload something into OneNote, does the annotation move?
The annotation will move, but my writing does not move. So if the student is writing on their side, it's almost like picture having a piece of glass.
Right.
They're writing on the glass. If I move that glass, it's going to move up and down. And so that's what it's like when they're annotating. But if you don't move the glass, it will stay there.
Right. Yeah. I use one.
I'll copy it and I'll paste it, and now I can move it wherever I want to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then I can save whatever it is that we've written, and their stuff doesn't go anywhere, which helps. We've got Rosemary Blash in the house. Hello, Rosemary. Thanks for joining us today. You're awesome. I haven't seen you in a while. I miss you. I'm glad that she said that she's getting lots of great, useful information from you guys. So thank you. You took part, Elizabeth, in our beginner call. So we started this new call inside of our community called the Beginner's Call, because a lot of our calls, sometimes people would come on into them and they would get lost and they'd get confused, because when you have 3 years experience like Suzanne Davis, or even a year's experience like Robyn, the questions that people have are different for different stages of their business. But the questions that beginners always have are pretty much always the same. So we created like a group of calls saying, okay, here are all the questions that typically beginners are wondering about: how to set up their website, how to start marketing, and all of those things. And you took part in both rounds that I've held of that so far. What was your experience with that?
Oh my goodness, so helpful. I can't even describe how helpful it was. But yeah, the reason I took part in it both times is not because, I didn't get enough the first time. It's just because sometimes for me, I need the second time around for it to sink in fully. And so it was just so helpful, because again, I find things really great when it's, okay, you need to do this first. And then, because I like, if somebody tells me what to do and gives me a step-by-step, I'm like, okay, I got this. I can do it if it's step-by-step. But if it's just kind of all over the place, I'm like, what do I do next? So the fact that it was, okay, this week we're going to focus on your website, and next week we're going to focus on the auto payment, or, what it was super, super helpful to me. And then we could come to the calls with questions that we had. And what I love about the beginner call, and really, what any of the calls in the Insider Secrets Club, is that no question is too big or too small.
Right.
And I think that's super, super important, especially for a beginner like me. And I'm sure Kathy could echo the same thing as well. Because, sometimes when you come to a call full of, experts like all of you, and you kind of feel like, oh, I don't know if I should ask this, but I've never felt like this in this community at all. So
yeah.
Sorry, I don't know if any of that made sense.
No, that totally made sense. And I've actually seen some people, like in the Ultimate Support Group, when like a new person asks like one of those typical first questions, I've seen some people respond with, just type it into the search, you'll see tons of answers come on up. And it's like,
it's not helpful.
They would have already done that if they knew to do that, but they're just asking, they don't know. And while it's nice to know that search bar is there where they can search that, it's just different when somebody is responding specifically to you and your question, right? It doesn't matter how many times like somebody has asked a question.
Oh, exactly.
You just want to know the answer. So I don't need to be a smart aleck to you. And
Right. Oh, and nobody in this community would ever do anything like that, which is so crucial, I think.
Yeah.
So, but but that's been my experience with the beginner's call. It's just, it really meets people where they are and then takes them where they need to go.
Yeah. Even if, and let me know if you agree or disagree with this. I feel like even if somebody has been tutoring for years, to go through the beginner's call as being a beginner of the community is helpful, because there may be pieces they don't have in place yet, or things that they could do differently or think differently about, so their business could run better. What are your thoughts?
Absolutely, yes, because, and that's part of the reason why I went through it a second time, because I had, at that point, you know, I had been in the business maybe for 3 or so months-ish, but I knew there were pieces that I had maybe missed the first time, or maybe didn't understand as well the first time, and so I was like, okay, I need a refresher on this, or I need to learn better how to put this in place. And so I think no matter how long you've been in business, I think even though it's labeled the beginner's call, it's really helpful for anybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, because people don't know where to find resources and tools, like right off the beginning, right? Like they don't know how the calls work. They don't know like just the ins and outs. So it's just a way. Some of them don't even know about the boom chat, you know, it's like little things like that.
Everybody needs to learn about that. It's the most important part.
Yeah. All that great stuff. So yeah, it's really kind of like, hey, here's how we get along in our community, and how you can grow your business. And yeah, it's great stuff all around. It's so much fun watching people grow too inside of the business and all of that. I enjoy that piece of it the most, just to see like where they were to where they are, and then what they start creating is just so amazing.
Yeah, and that's sorry if you'll allow me to speak on that for a second. That's another super unique part of the Insider Secrets Club in particular, I think. I mean, it happens in the Ultimate Support Group as well, but just your whole community, that we really cheer each other on. Like there's no sense of competition at all. Like we just, I don't know, the people inside, whenever somebody makes a report that they, you know, made a blog post, or that they got a new student, or, you know, maybe you put a video on for the first time on YouTube and you're really nervous but really excited that you hit publish. Me. that happened to me. But you know, just whenever somebody gets a new student, we're all like, that's awesome, like go, you, like, you know, we're all celebrating for each other, which I just think that's amazing, because it could be totally the opposite, and it's not.
And referring, I feel like the community has grown to a place where people feel comfortable referring each other. In the Ultimate Support Group, I don't feel like there's that comfort level yet. There's still some mistrust, and people haven't had the opportunity to kind of get to know people as well as we know each other so well, because it's just like this, you guys. So those of you who don't know like what it feels like to be in the Insider Secrets, kind of like this. It's kind of like this, right? Like
exactly.
We are getting together, we're chatting, we're brainstorming, and we get to know each other, which is good. Well, awesome. So somebody who's on the fence about joining our Insider Secrets Club, what would you say to them, Elizabeth?
Well, so somebody who's on the fence, I would say that if you want to really grow or start your business, if you want to take the next step and really become serious about it, and you want people who will support you and cheer you on and just be there for you every step of the way, and you want to learn the most that you can possibly learn, I would say do it. Like there's no better decision that you can possibly make. That's what I would say.
I know there's some people that are like, I want to join right now, but the doors don't open until Monday. So stay tuned, because the doors open on Monday and then you can join us, but the doors only stay open for less than a week. They'll only be open from Monday through Friday, and then I close the doors. Why? Because I really feel like people coming on in together as a community, walking through the steps together, and then kind of being released into the rest of the community is a really great model for us, so that people don't feel lost, and they can get all of their questions and stuff answered, and it takes time to do that. And so I like to make sure that everybody is welcomed into the community and they know where to find things, and I can help and guide them so that they don't feel so lost in the beginning.
Absolutely. I think that's a great model, especially with how the beginners call is set up.
Yeah. Now we've got Robyn in the house, you guys. Robyn works, she is an SAT and ACT tutor who also focuses on physics and math. She loves the math side of all of that great stuff. And she has been part of the community for, I would say, like about a year, over a year. She's been part of our community, a year, 3 months, something around there. I know it's like over a year. And she's been making some really great growth in her business recently, as she's been really stepping into getting her own clients. Now, Robyn was working for another tutoring company. And what was it like working for, are you still working with a tutoring company?
Yes, it says you're, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Because, okay, there it goes. Because it said I was muted. I am, only because the student had so much anxiety that I discussed it with her, and she did not take the test last week. She's taking it in October. So I'm staying with the company with that one student.
Okay.
My manager knows it's just the one student.
Sure. Now, what has been the biggest difference of working for yourself, because now you have your own clients as well, and working with a company?
Well, the company that I work for I love the company. I absolutely do. But one, of course, doesn't pay as well, because they don't. But they gave me the students, they gave me the information. What was the deciding factor for me was that I was seeing a huge difference with how I approached working with a student as opposed to how they did. There's a set format, and I wanted to add things to it. My manager thought, that's great, you can, but I thought, but you're paying me $25 an hour and I was having to drive. I had to drive to the different places, and I lived in Colorado. So it's not really horrible, but when we get snow, we get a lot of snow. Even here where I live, and it gets cold and it gets a little dangerous. So I made the decision when I had a student say to me, I don't think that the company that I was working for, it really helped me, but I think that you can help me. Can I keep working with you for the next test? And that's kind of what took me into that. I think it was a great way to start.
Yeah.
But I've been working with a student who's going to take the SAT next month, and in 1 month, the SAT is, 1,600 points. In 1 month, she increased her math grade, just 4 sessions, by 100 points. That was huge. I was so happy about that. So, and that I couldn't have done that with the company and their materials.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have that flexibility.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I think as teachers, we've been squashed down in what our abilities are and what we're able to do. We're given curriculums to teach. And then when it's interesting, because last month, I think a couple months ago, I was talking with some teachers and they said, well, how do you tutor? Like, how do you know what to teach and when to teach? I'm like, well, I just do. Like, I just know what a child should learn next. And then I teach that to them. And they're like, but what is that? Like, they didn't have that basis there, right? Because we have been almost dumbing down the curriculum for teachers, which is completely unfair to them, because they should be getting paid to do a job that they are capable of doing without needing a manual all of the time. Right. But that's just the way that our school system is built right now. And so this is the part of the online tutoring world that I absolutely love, is that I get to choose what I'm going to teach, it based off of the student needs. And you were just kind of talking about that. What are some, as an SAT, ACT tutor, what are some of your favorite resources that you use?
Well, of course, for the SAT, I use the College Board. The College Board is the definitive, They have all the practice exams.
Mhm.
I use for the ACT, it's very similar. I go to the ACT.org, go to take a look at their exams, because that's the gold standard. That's what we're looking at. For preparing, what I do is I always do a free assessment and have the student do a practice exam and see where they need help. Then my biggies for both SAT and ACT, for the reading, the grammar, the writing, is the books by Erica Meltzer. She explains everything, breaks it down and does nice little chapters, so you can really narrow down what the student needs to have work on. And as far as the math side of it, I use a couple different things to work with the students. I use IXL, but mainly, to be honest, just because of my background in math, I'm able to really break down. And if I can say I have a student who doesn't really understand the geometry, we say, okay, well, this is what you need to know. We have the SAT and the ACT both published. These are the formulas they need to know. And I make sure the students know those formulas.
Yeah.
So.
Great. Yeah, because that's an important piece of it. They don't give any of the formulas for the kids. They have to know those formulas.
For the ACT, the SAT, they get formulas. But if they don't know how to manipulate the formula, I didn't get a formula for right triangle, but if the student doesn't know how to use it or even create it, then it's useless. You give them form for the SAT. Yes.
Okay. That's good to know. That's good to know. And so do you use Zoom? Do you use BitPaper? What tools do you use as your?
Yes, I use Zoom. I use BitPaper. I have a tablet. It's a UN tablet that I use for my math. And I use BitPaper. I record the whole session, and then I send it to the student afterwards, because 99% of the time they want to see the math done just a little bit, broken down a little bit more.
Okay.
And so I'll give them, say we go through and do a question on, volume. And we do an example. Because what the SAT and the ACT both do is they have set topics and things that they need to test on.
Yeah.
But they do is twist the questions and turn the questions. So say it's on a quadratic formula, but you have 4 different ways that it's being presented. So the student has to understand what they need to pick out of each one of those. And so when we go through it on Zoom, and I write it all out for them, and I don't really write it out for them. What I'll do is I'll say, okay, now how do I start this program? Have this problem, and then we'll walk through it together.
Yeah,
because they're the ones who have to be able to do it.
Yeah. Very cool. Sounds like you've got such a great strategy. You get some great resources that you utilize and use. So if you guys are thinking of being able to tutor the SAT, ACT, definitely check that out. Now, lots of people think, well, Joanne, you're a reading tutor. You can't help me as a blank tutor. But your SAT, ACT, like totally different realm, totally different, world in a way. What would you say to that person?
Say to that person that revive. Tell me that question again.
So but Joanne, you're a reading tutor. So how, you can't help me with running my online tutoring business.
That's an interesting question. So, but you have a successful business. You have a track record, and you've proven what you can do. It's just like in any business, somebody who is an expert, you can sit there and say, well, if marketing is perfect, you can say to somebody, well, you do marketing only, with food, and I work only with, widgets. So your marketing can't help. Well, there's a lot of commonality across. And as far as being an online tutor, there's a lot of, the whole basis of it is, how do we as teachers, because that's where we're pretty much all coming from, take this and put it online. There are certain aspects that we all have in common.
Right.
We may have certain specialties, but we're all teachers, and we all need to know how do we work Zoom? What kind of interaction do we have? Do we need to record? How do we talk to the parents about doing it online? Those are kind of things that Doesn't matter what subject you're tutoring. They're
Right.
all the same.
Right. Yeah, it's the business aspect of it that we're really covering in the Insider Secrets Club. And if people have specific questions about resources and tools, there's the whole community of people that have been around for a while who can make suggestions on how they teach, or resources and tools and all that kind of stuff. So if they're wondering, like, how do you specifically teach online? And well, you teach a different subject, so I can't learn from you. There aren't a lot of business people out there that are teaching these concepts specifically for tutors. There just isn't a ton out there that has built like a huge community like we've got. So if you want to be successful, you definitely have to join us. Right, Robyn?
Right. But I have 2 accountability partners.
Yes.
One of them is here, Suzanne, who does something very different than I do.
Yeah.
College writing. The other one is Elaine, who has a school in another country and is geared towards younger kids. And so if people have that thought, well, they do different things, I can't learn that from them. Well, that's kind of insane, because you could always learn from somebody else,
right,
in what they're doing. And the commonality, of course, is that we're all tutoring online. We all have a connection.
You've been a member for over a year. What has kept you coming back and being an active member in our community?
One is the big thing is the community, obviously, because there's a lot of support there. When I think, oh my goodness, I cannot do this anymore, I can go in there and I can reach out to somebody and say, I'm really stuck. I don't know what to do. So I got stuck on figuring out the green screen for a long time. Elaine was fantastic. She talked to me about it, and she said, and it was really very simple, but just kind of when you're ready to lose your mind going in there. And one of my favorite, because it keeps coming up, one of my favorite quotes of all time is by Michelangelo, who wrote at 89, he was age 89, I am still learning. And I don't think that I'll ever reach the point that I've learned so much about online tutoring that, okay, I'm ready to go and quit now. So I'm going to keep going.
Rosemary said, you've created a special space here, Joanne. Thank you. Aw, so sweet, Rosemary. Thank you. Well, you know what? There are lots of other communities out there on the internet that do not cater to teachers, and they do run their businesses differently. And, I ran into a lot of those people, places. Some of them were great. Some of them were not great. And I wanted to be able to create something amazing for you guys. So thank you guys for all kind of sticking with me as it's just continued to grow and continued to get better. We've also have Suzanne Davis in the house here. Hey, Suzanne, how are you? Oh, I got to unmute you. Oh, all right. You are unmuted officially.
Yeah. Hi, Yeah. Okay, because I'm still seeing you are muted.
No,
okay.
You are not muted.
All right. Hi, everyone.
Now, you have been in the community with us the longest, over 3 years. I have loved watching your business model kind of change over the years and see you grow your online presence. You started off from being scared to be on camera during our calls to now doing like weekly Facebook Lives. You have over like 138,000 monthly viewers on your Pinterest page. Keep getting calls each week for people requesting another free consultation, and you keep coming back. So what are some of the things that you've learned as being a member inside of this community?
I'd say the first one is to ask questions. A lot of the other things that I was doing before I came to the Insider Secrets group was probably, I would say, a lot of passive learning. I'd watch a lot of lectures, and I'm a person who has a lot of questions. And even when I first started with the group, I was really just watching videos and being a passive learner. But once I got into the showing up for the question answer calls, and at that time we had a book club, and asking these questions and hearing from you what I can be doing, and hearing from others too, their ideas, it just my learning just went so much further, and I was really applying what I was learning.
Mm.
Whereas before, when, I'm watching a video, I'm taking notes and I'm filling up a notebook, and before I know it, I had 10 notebooks and hardly anything on my website. So yeah, I was like, oh, I need to finish this up. Now that I've signed up for the Insider Secrets Club, maybe I should just stop watching all the videos and actually show up for the calls too.
Well, and there's that accountability piece, right? As soon as you start like speaking things out loud to people, there's this sense of, oh, I should probably do it.
Right.
And it's a whole psychological thing, isn't it? Like, yeah, I still take part in a lot of passive learning, listening to audiobooks all the time and that kind of stuff. It's like I'm not always taking action. Like they'll tell me like to take an action, but sometimes I'm just kind of like just listening, right? I don't actually take that. So I totally get that. I fall into that trap all of the time still to these days. But I think that's such a great way to kind of explain like what was happening for, I'm sure there are a lot of people who can resonate with that whole thought process. And so now that you have been like a super active community member, what keeps you coming back?
Well, part of it is that I'm growing from one phase to another phase. And so I'm constantly having to learn something new. And the coaching helps a lot with that. I do the group coaching. I also do one-on-one coaching with Joanne, which is really helpful. And I still have questions. So I show up sometimes for the question and answer calls, or I show up for a tech call because, maybe I've learned something new and I want to share it with somebody, or sometimes you've learned something new and you're just introducing it to us. And then sometimes I just have a tech question.
Yeah.
Still,
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah. So I would say I'm always learning. So I keep coming back.
Yeah.
Different questions as I grow, but I still have questions.
Yeah.
I mean, right now
you're writing a book right now.
Yes.
Which is super exciting. I can't wait till it comes out so we can really start passing that all around the internet, which is awesome. And so you're right, like your business has grown in phases, and it doesn't matter what phase your business is at, there's still value inside of the community to be able to support you as you continue going on. I hadn't actually thought about that aspect of it. So I like how you kind of put that piece in together. That's awesome. So tell us about the book that you're writing right now.
Oh, well, it's about how to write an essay that's going to get you a scholarship. So, it's the process of, almost of how to go about it. But then there's also a lot of things that I've been learning about finding scholarships and the perspective of these people that read scholarships and what they're looking for, which is different from what a college is looking for in a college essay. And I think for a lot of people, they think it's the same thing, and it's not.
Right.
So it's been a great learning experience, the research that I've done. And then it's also great for the students I work with too.
Yeah, for sure. And so like those are just some aspects where a business can grow and add. Like that's a great, and that goes specifically to your ideal client too, right? Like people that are writing scholarships and they like read that book. You work with kids who are struggling with academic writing in college. And so it's like, look, who are they going to turn to now when they're struggling with writing when they get to college? Like, oh my gosh, there's this Suzanne Davis lady. I read her book and she tutors, and oh my gosh, I need to connect with her. I just think it's such a great piece to add some incoming income, some ongoing income, some the word's not coming into me, but some additional
passive income, another income stream,
passive income, whatever you want to call it, into the mix. Like you don't have to just have tutoring as your one income stream. So this adds another path for you to be able to get an income, which is great because sometimes tutoring can kind of be a little bit of a roller coaster, can't it? Where sometimes you have more students, sometimes you have less students. And then people freak out when they start getting less students. Like, oh my gosh, why am I losing students? Or like, they're just done, right? Like they reach their goals. That's the natural progression of tutoring. We want that to happen. And then we get new students, but it's in this little dip here, right here, that people start to freak out. When you have these additional income streams coming on in, like you're building, you don't freak out as much.
Yeah, I mean, that's the hope that, well, I don't freak out that much anyway.
So that's good. You don't look like a freaker outer. Nope.
No, I kind of roll with a lot of things in life. So
you do. So tell us about your strategy for teaching writing online. Do you have like some favorite tools that you use? How do you go about it?
Well, a lot of what I do, because it's writing, is student generated. So, I'll be setting something up, but the piece of writing that a student is doing is their own. So everything comes out of that. It's not like I use this one resource every day or every time. I do use Google Docs for the writing, although now you can use Word and put that up to Google Docs and stay within the Word system and still be making comments and everything like that, which is new and pretty cool. So anything that allows me to write with students is really what I'm focusing on. And then there's other things that I go to for finding research and for showing students how to do academic research. Like there's an awesome website called archive.org, which has all kinds of really neat academic materials or materials about subjects that are really interesting, from videos to articles to books. That's really cool. And then, as a lot of people know in this community, they've either seen me talk about it on other videos, I use Google Classroom a lot for really personalizing the whole learning experience for a student. They have their own resources as they're needing them. So all stored in one place. And, I have an agenda that they always know ahead of time, because that gets scheduled and sent out to them. And so I use Google Docs for all kinds of things.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah. And we do have a
Google Classroom, sorry.
Google Classroom. So what I will do after this video is done, for anybody who's watching this on replay, I'm going to put an end screen video of how Google Classroom works, so that you guys can see exactly how Google Classroom works and how Suzanne uses it. So we only have about 1 minute left here. For that person who feels that this group is only for people that are just getting started, Suzanne, what would you say to them?
I'm still here after 3 years. So obviously, it's not just for people who are getting started.
Right. Yeah. Well, thank you, you guys. So for those of you who are wondering when these doors open, they do open on Monday, and they will only be open until Friday for you to be able to join us, so that we can have a whole new group of people getting started in the community, starting together. And I do believe that that builds relationships in really strong ways, you guys, which is why we hold it that way. So thanks for joining me today, everyone. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to share your experience, the resources, the tools, the how you go about it, the things that you have learned. It has been so powerful and so engaging for people. And I appreciate you guys for everything that you do. So thank you. And everybody enjoy the rest of your day. Bye, everyone.
Cheers, everyone.
Thanks, Joanne.